Hetepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haroon Nefer. This is Qesankh Ma Keperu with another exciting video for you. And in this video, we're going to tackle a dangerous topic, which is the truth about the Bible. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. If you want to know more about my spiritual teachings, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, $20 per month. It's up to you, and you can cancel it anytime. There's never any obligation. And as a member, you'll get exclusive access to instructional videos on the spiritual. Videos that'll show you how to put together a magical amulet for protection, how to contact the ancestors, how to work with certain spirits, how to properly do meditation, how to properly do breathing. And you can learn to work with certain secret mantras that we have up on the Patreon channel. And also, I do have my ebooks there. You can download them and start reading them right away. They're free. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. All right, guys. Grand Rising, Haroon Nefer. We are going to touch upon a very sensitive subject that many scholars have written about and exposed the truth and have been attacked by other Christian scholars. So the Bible, as you know it, the King James Version of the Bible, is said to be the inspired word of God. But yet, we know it was a book that was published in 1611 by King James, who is a pedophile. Now, the Christian church doesn't want this information to get out there. And what I'm saying would cause so much of an uprising because they want the truth hidden. And let's go into this. Now, many times you hear me talk about the Bible is an occult book because it goes back and has its origin in Africa, believe it or not. And it's based on astrotheology, the study of the zodiac. And the stories in there are metaphors. And it's not, as Christian scholars will say, a history book. It's a book full of metaphors and symbolism. That's how we wrote back then. That's how the occultists wrote. This is why Nostradamus, when he wrote his quatrains, they were all metaphorical. But let's get into this deeper. One of these men that wrote a book on the origin of the Bible is Dr. Ben Jamakaden, who passed away recently. He's an ancestor now. But he did a fabulous job in one of his books where he traced the King James version of the Bible to many different versions. You see, this happened in 325 AD with the Roman Emperor Constantine, who wanted to, because there were different cults at the time. So he wanted to create order and have a position of power. And, you know, through religion, that's the ultimate way that you can control the people. So what he did was he called together the Conference of Nicaea, where they went and they took various different chapters from different Bibles or different works, and they combined them all into one Bible. And this would be the masterpiece from which the people would worship Look it up. It's called the Conference of Nicaea, 325 AD, Roman Emperor Constantine. So this book, this Bible that you think is the inspired word of God is really an amalgamation of different pages and chapters from different books, different works. This is why you'll find the story of Moses and the flood in different cultures. The same story comes out of different cultures that predate the Bible because the Bible took it from other sources. The Bible plagiarized these stories. We know that Jesus is really a plagiarized version of the Egyptian Kemetic god Osiris or Osir. And Mary is Isis or Aset. Baby Jesus is Heru. We can trace all of this back to other scriptures in other Bibles and other sacred works. But as a means to exert control over the people, Constantine got his scholars together so that they can formalize one book. Which then will be authorized by King James. So the very Bible that these Christians are worshiping as the Word of God is not only plagiarized, but it's taken from different sources. But they refuse to study and to trace all of this back, afraid of where it would lead to. Now, I want you to understand something. The Christian scholars aren't afraid that you'll find out that the Bible is a plagiarized. It plagiarized different stories from different cultures. They're not so necessarily afraid of you finding that out, which they don't want you to find out. But here's the secret. Here's what they really don't want you to find out, and why most Black people, not all, are very foolish for going to these Christian churches. They don't want you to know that the oldest Bible, the original Bible, comes out of Ethiopia. So what does that mean? So if the oldest and original Bible comes out of Ethiopia, that means that the characters in the Bible are Black themselves. You see, they don't want you to see that. They don't want you to know that. And that you, as a Black person, going to church and looking up at the depictions of the biblical characters as white, you should be very much insulted by that. In fact, you should be questioning and saying, where's the original Bible? Why can't we read that? Why can't we take this back to the source in Ethiopia? Why are we reading this amalgamation, which is blasphemy? But they're not questioning that. See, these Black Christians don't question that. They don't ask, well, was Moses really Black? Was Jesus really Black? Because if the original Bible is from Ethiopia, then these characters have to be Black. They don't ask those questions because it's dangerous. It's too dangerous. You have an entire country of white people worshiping these characters as white, when the original source from which everything came from was by Black people, Black occult scholars, occult magicians who wrote the original work. But you're too deaf, dumb, and blind to go back to the original source. I want to play for you a video that really puts this all together so you can hear and see what I'm saying. Hold tight for a moment. Let me share my screen, because this is going to blow you away. And if it doesn't, then I'm sorry. Then, because I'm not going to disgrace my ancestors by not worshiping from the original book. Okay, let's go.
Did you know that the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest, most complete Bible on earth? The Ethiopian Bible is written in an ancient language that dates back thousands of years and includes ancient scrolls and manuscripts predating the King James Bible by centuries. And what makes this even more fascinating is that Ethiopia had these texts long before Christianity was officially adopted in the 4th century. The most significant change in biblical history occurred during the reign of King James III in the early 1600s. King James commissioned 47 scholars to create a single authoritative version. This process took 7 years and resulted in the King James Bible, published in 1611. However, these edits excluded many texts present in the Ethiopian Bible. This raises the question, why were these texts omitted, and what do they reveal that mainstream Christianity does not? The Ethiopian Bible includes the Book of Jubilees, which offers a different chronology and understanding of biblical events, suggesting time manipulation by divine or otherworldly forces. It also contains references to lost books and prophecies that have been kept hidden, revealing esoteric knowledge about human origins, cosmic cycles, and even future events that align eerily with modern occurrences. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church maintains that these hidden texts were suppressed by early church authorities to control spiritual knowledge. These texts might awaken humanity to its divine potential and cosmic heritage. Did you know that the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest, most complete Bible on earth? The Ethiopian Bible is written in an ancient language that dates back thousands of years.
So here we are. We have throughout history points where these Europeans, aristocrats, took hold of the Bible and started rewriting it. We look at Roman Emperor Constantine, and then we look at who else? We look at King James himself. Again, who was a pedophile. A pedophile wrote your book. He comprised your book. Isn't that contrary to Christian doctrine? But yet again, they don't want to talk about what King James did. They don't want to talk about what the Roman Constantine did. They don't want to talk about the origin of the Bible, which is Black Ethiopia. They don't want to date and trace the passages to other cultures that it was stolen, that the Bible stole from. We're just being deceived. And you look at the chronology, and again, if you want to know more about this, get Dr. Ben's book on the origin of the Bible, and he actually talks about how many versions of the Bible there were. But we are being so greatly deceived that the great Black scholars who comprise this work are not given the recognition they deserve. Because now these white European devils come along and create their own versions of the Bible. And it was for nefarious purposes, because it wasn't for altruistic goals. They wanted to control and manipulate the population. It's the same way when we understand slavery, when the slave master wanted to control the slaves and keep them from rebelling, he would pick out one slave who he felt had really good oratory skills, educate him, have him read from the Bible, teach him about the Bible, and then have him teach the slaves the religion of Christianity, but only certain passages that endorsed your being a slave and being passive. They would never teach anything from the Bible that even hinted at the idea of independence, rebellion, and things of that nature. Same thing. And this slave, who would only read excerpts from the Bible that endorsed slavery, would travel from plantation to plantation and preach from the Bible those exact scriptures. So we are going to church on Sunday to read a Bible that has been throughout history plagiarized, revamped over the course of centuries. And you don't question it. You don't question it. You go along with the programming. You go along with the protocol. And you become sheeple. We need to stand up and stop being controlled and preached to. We need to trace all of this back, our entire lineage, our entire history, and found out what really happened in antiquity. Because what we're going to discover is that we were greater, far greater than we were told. That we contributed so much to history and the shaping of the world. Because we're still unearthing things about who we are that has been buried and hidden by many racist anthropologists. They have discovered cities, empires, run by Black kings and queens and emperors that they don't want us to know about, because it would break down the very fabric of their supremacist ideology. And believe it or not, they use the Bible to preach white supremacy. That's their golden doctrine. And if you break that down, they lose their position of power. It destroys them in front of the world. This is why this is so important. I want you to grasp this, please. I want you to go out there and start questioning things, and start researching things, and stop just taking things for face value because someone says it. Oh, Black people were slaves. No, but what does that really mean? Why were we slaves? What were Europeans trying to hide? What was so important about us that they had to oppress us? Ask these questions. But you're going to find that we were a race of supermen and superwomen. I want to thank you for tuning in. If you found this message useful, please donate to the channel. I'm Qesankh Keperu, son of Ma'at and Tahuti. Ma'at is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, I'm in Ra.